Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Shri Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Shri Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan Shri Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan Shri Hare. Jaya Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath Shri Hare. Jaya Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath Shri Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda Shri Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda Shri Hare. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar Shri Hare. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar Shri Hare. Jaya Radha Vinoda, Radha Vinoda, Radha Vinoda Shri Hare. Jaya Radha Vinoda, Radha Vinoda, Radha Vinoda Shri Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai. Hare Hare. Okay, I think people can come bit awkward stuff. And I think you'll have to go to a later verse.
Verse 5.
5.45. It's in 5.1. You have to go to 4.5, 45 verses. You can't scroll like that. Go one back and then you can. Yeah, by the time they set it up, we can just chant the pranam mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Nashto Prayeshu Abhadreshu.
Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki.
Krishnaya Vasudevaya.
Krishnaya Vasudevaya.
Devaki Nandanaya cha.
Devaki Nandanaya cha.
Nandagopa Kumaraya.
Nandagopa Kumaraya.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Okay, so I think yeah, this is a verse from Brahma Samhita 5.45. I can maybe repeat one line at a time and you can just recite, and then someone can recite as well. Kshiram yata dadi vikara vishesha yogat.
Kshiram yata dati vikara vishesha yogat.
Sanjayate nahi tata pritagasti heto.
Sanjayate nahi tata pritakasti heto.
Yashambhutam api tatha samupaiti karyat.
Yasambhutam api tata samupaiti karyat.
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
Kshiram yata dati vikara vishesha yogat.
Kshiram yata dati vikara vishesha yogat.
Sanjayate nahi tata pratikasti hetu.
Sanjayate nahi tata pritakasti hetu.
Yashambhutam api tatha samupaiti karyat.
Yasambhutam api tata samupaiti karyat.
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
Anyone wants to give it a try?
Kshiram yata dati vikara vishesha yogat.
Kshiram yata dadi vikara vishesha yogat.
Sanjayate nahi tatah pritah asti heto.
Sanjayate nahi tatha pritagasti heto.
Yashambhutam api tata samupaiti karyat.
Yashambhutam api tatha samupaiti karyat.
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Anyone else? It's okay, even if the meter is wrong or trial is wrong. One more person and then we can move on to the next. Who is the daring soul?
Kshiram yata dada vikara vishesha yoga.
Kshiram yata dadi vikara vishesha yoga.
Sanjayate हि ततः पृथगस्ति हेतो
संजायते न हि तथा पृथगस्ति हेतो
यशम्भुतामपतिता समुपैति कार्यात्
यशम्भुतामपि तथा समुपैति कार्यात्
गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि
गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. Okay, and just go to the synonyms. Kshiram, milk.
Kshiram, milk.
Yatha, as.
Yatha, as.
Dadi, yogurt.
Dadi, yogurt.
Vikara Vishesha, of a special transformation.
Vikara Vishesha, of special transformation.
Yogat, by the application.
Yogat, by the application.
Sanjayate is transformed into.
Sanjayate is transformed into.
Na, not.
Na, not.
He, indeed.
He, indeed.
Tatha, from the milk.
Tatha, from the milk.
Prithak, separated.
Prithak, separated.
Asti, is.
Asti, is.
Heto, which is the cause.
Heto, which is the cause.
Yaha, who.
Yaha, who.
Sambhutam, the nature of Lord Shiva.
Shambhutam, the nature of Lord Shiva.
Api, also.
Api, also.
Tatha, thus.
Tatha, thus.
Samupaiti, accepts.
Samupaiti, accepts.
Karyat, for the matter of some particular business.
Karyat, for the matter of some particular business.
Govindam,
Govinda. Govindam, Govinda.
Adi Purusham, the original person.
Adi Purusham, the original person.
Tam, him.
Tam, him.
Aham,
Aham,
I.
I.
Bhajami, worship. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Jai.
Jai.
Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect of curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, that is milk. So I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is the transformation of the performance of the work of destruction. Can you just scroll back to the verse? Yeah. Everyone maybe can chant if you know the prayers. Om Agnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaryam Dadati Swapadankitam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganaita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gauraki Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishnavasute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jayato Surato Pango Mama Manda Mathirgati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna
Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Okay, Hare Krishna. First of all, I think from Bhakti Center we welcome all of you for this celebration of Mahashivratri. So, thank you for coming. And today we'll just discuss few things. But yeah, before that, I need you all to take a moment to just pray for me, because I've been put in this situation where I'm not realized to share much deeper things, and also like I've least prepared for this class. So yeah, just pray that whatever I say actually makes some sense today and then motivates everyone for Bhakti. But thank you so much, Mancha Kalpadar. Okay, so I was just thinking what to discuss. Just give me a second. Yeah, I was just thinking what to discuss for Shivratri, because it is also a very very delicate topic, or it needs much more deep realization or and studies to actually discuss about Lord Shiva and his tattva. So, but I'll just give a try of what I have heard, and definitely I'm not realized to give all the statements as such, but at least I can try to share something that I've read, heard, and which made sense to me, or which inspired me to share today. So, technically, we can understand Lord Shiva in three aspects. That is, one is Tattvagata Vichara, that is in essence of the Tattva or nature. And then there is the second thing is understanding him with Aishwaryagata Vichara in terms of Aishwarya and opulences. And then there is Naragata Vichara in terms of human-like pastimes. But I think because of the time restraints that we have, we might not able to dive into each of these three aspects, but maybe at least we'll try to get the essence of it, that is the Tattvagata Vichara, like understand what is Shiva Tattva, like what is the prominence and what is his role basically. So yeah, before that, going into that, so I just want to ask two questions, and you can just raise your hand for yes, and then later I'll ask for no. So okay, so how many of you think Krishna or Vishnu and Shiva are the same? Yes, no? You can raise your hand. Okay, for yes, you can raise the hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5. They think it's 6. They think it's the same. Okay, how many of you think it's not, they both are not same, like they both are different? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Handful of people, and some people didn't raise, so I don't know what's their conclusion.
The conclusion is that I cannot decide that, because if you read Bhagavatam, it would be Krishna, if you read Shiv Puran, it would be Shiva. So I am no right to speak anything about them. I'm not in that position to speak.
Yeah.
So it's better to remain neutral in that case.
No, that's what we'll try to understand what is the thing actually it is. And then, so the second question, like how many of you think milk and yogurt are the same? Yes or no? Yes, that you think milk and yogurt is the same.
No, same means 100% or close to 100%?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Same.
Yeah, if it is a different, because they have their own...
That's my next question. That's my next question. How many of you think it's the same?
Krishna is 100%, expansion of other things are lesser than that. So
Let's go to that, Prabhu. Let's go to that. Let's stick
That's
to
what
milk
I'm
and
saying.
yogurt.
That is stated in Bhagavatam, but if you go to Shiv Purana, something else will be stated which we don't know about. That is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, the question is simple. How many of you think milk and yogurt is the same? Yes, raise your hands. 1, 2. Okay, how many of you think milk and yogurt are different? Okay, quite a lot of hands. Okay, so this verse basically from Brahma Samhita that we just recited is like the 45th verse of Brahma Samhita, and Brahma Samhita basically originates from basically when the recitation of Brahma glorifying Krishna when I don't know if you know the Brahma Vimohan Leela, that where it's a pastime of between Brahma and kidnapping his friends, and later he realizes his mistakes and then gives out stuti to glorify Krishna. And that's when Lord Brahma talks about a series of verses glorifying Krishna. And in this particular verse, he is telling, just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect of curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, that is milk. So I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is the transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. So here Brahma concludes, or Brahma declares, that Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu or Krishna are both same as well as different. So you can't conclude them saying that they both are one and the same. That is also an offense to both Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. And at the same time, if you say they both are two different entities, that they both are completely two different personalities, then that is also an offense, basically. So that's why I said this is much more a bit delicate topic, and it's also like it's one of those topics in the Vedanta philosophy that, like, the more you go in depth of this understanding, the more you will be deluded, because it is so subtle that for a human mind you can't distinguish between if it's the same or if it's different. Like the more you go deep, sometimes it says yeah, they both are same, sometimes they say they both are different, then you just get confused. So we'll just try to understand how they are a bit same, how they are a bit different. So the milk, as in essence, like, it's basically a dairy product, and when you add like basically just a drop of acid to it, then it becomes yogurt. But in the case of milk becoming yogurt, like, there is a pot of milk and you add acid to it, and then it becomes yogurt. So basically the milk disappeared and there is just yogurt. But in the case of Krishna or Vishnu and Shiva, there is this as much similarity as there is between milk and yogurt. So basically the whole difference between milk and yogurt is just one drop of acid in it. Otherwise it's technically the same composition. But just that one difference that it makes, that is a drop of acid, gives it a whole different structure, whole different appearance, whole different taste, basically. In terms of, in one way they both are same, in terms both are different. So similarly, like that, Krishna and or Vishnu and Lord Shiva are the same in terms of the composition, basically, but they differ in terms of their personality, as to, like, here in this case where Brahma is telling that the transformation is for the performance of work of destruction. So there are some responsibilities that Vishnu does in terms of this whole manifestation of creation, preservance, and then destruction. So for each of these things there is a different nature of work that is required, and because of that he takes a different form. So basically he is at the same, but in case of milk, the milk converts to yogurt and the milk is gone and you have only yogurt. But in the case of Krishna, Vishnu, or Lord Shiva, he takes this form of Shiva, but also at the same time Krishna is still Krishna. Like, Krishna doesn't disappear and then becomes Shiva, and then Shiva doesn't disappear and becomes Krishna. Like, both are like at the same time simultaneously existing, but they both are a bit different, but they both are technically the same. And people like who are like really realized Vaishnavas, they know this fact, and that's why they don't differentiate between Shiva and Krishna, but at the same time they know the nature is different, so they still respect, worship Lord Shiva. But I think it's not the same with maybe Shaivites who just worship Shiva. So they still don't understand the subtle philosophy of this, so they may or may not worship Krishna at the same time. But a true Vaishnava is one who basically worships both Shiva and Krishna, and doesn't disrespect or something, saying that, oh no, Shiva is much lower, or Shiva is a devata, and Krishna is this supreme. But but also we will try to dive in as to how they both are different. But firstly, we'll try to understand what is the position of Shiva basically. And in this world, there is two things, that is the conscious entities and there is not conscious entities, or basically living entities and non-living entities. Like for example, this mic or this phone, these are all like non-living entities. And we human beings, animals, plants, these are all like conscious beings basically. And these conscious beings, the jivas, try to exploit the non-living beings to get things done. So there are two types in this material world, and then there are higher beings like devatas and more higher beings like the Vishnu avatars and all these things. So the jivas are in the let's say in the material platform, and then there is Krishna, and from Krishna there are expansions and like Shankarshan, Vishnu, and then the avatars and all these things. So these are all basically the Vishnu tattvas, and these avatars are for, we know, all the cosmic pastimes that keeps happening. So there is basically two tattvas. One is the jiva tattva, who are maybe sometimes in the higher planetary system, sometimes in the earthly planetary systems, and then there is Vishnu tattvas who are always in the service of Vishnu basically. But where does Shiva belong here? Is he Vishnu Tattva? Like, does he belong in the Vishnu Tattva platform, or does he belong to Jiva Tattva platform, like us? Where does he fit? What do you think?
He has like his own tattva between the spiritual world and the material world. Like
Yeah,
in between.
yeah, exactly. So Shiva has his own tattva basically. So he doesn't either belong to the Vishnu tattva, he doesn't also belong to the Jiva tattva. And like between, like in the center, like is basically like the connection between the spiritual tattva, like who are like very high energy, and then there is the Jiva tattva. Because as such the Vishnu tattvas, they don't associate directly in this material platform. It's much more detailed in Srimad Bhagavatam, but let's not go in depth for it, otherwise it will take a whole big session on its own. So that is basically the position in terms of tattva for Shiva. And then there is the quality of Vishnu. And as such, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also talks about. I think maybe you can just close it, Prabhu. That's fine. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, anyone knows how many qualities Krishna has?
64.
No. Any other guesses? Sorry, you have to be louder. 32, no.
84. 84.
84, no.
If you're talking about the percentages, then we consider 100.
Kind of, yeah. Percentages, yeah. But the answer is very simple. I mean, any one last guess? How many qualities Krishna has? Exactly. He has unlimited gunas. He has unlimited qualities, but then out of that, of course, 64 prominent qualities are there in Krishna. And as such, the scriptures say we as jivas, we have max to max 50 qualities, and in terms of percentages, very, very minute. Like Krishna has all the qualities for full 100%, but jiva has like jivas has, we have like mix and match of these 50 qualities of different percentages. And these are all like very minute compared to what Krishna has. Like they're considered like just drops from the ocean. Like if you consider all the ocean water and you just take one drop of it, just imagine, like for example, if someone is very beautiful, That means you can just think of Krishna that, okay, this person is so beautiful that he is just that, like one small drop from all the ocean water that you can imagine of. So Krishna is like so beautiful, like in terms of that. And then Vishnu Tattva has 60 qualities. Like he doesn't even have the prominent 64 what we just mentioned of Krishna. So he has like 4 qualities lesser. Now, how many qualities do you think, as per scriptures, Shiva has? Lord Shiva has?
84% of 60.
Percentages? No, I mean he has full 100%, but maybe the number, yeah, already there, but a definite number, if you know, as what quoted in the Shastras. Almost close. So basically, he has 55 qualities in full, basically. And like, yeah, the Jivas have 50 qualities, and he has these 5 special qualities more than the Jivas, which is in full. And this is one is the first quality is basically called uh, Sada Swarupa Samprapti. So basically, his nature is always constant, and we will also discuss a bit what his nature. But in general, what it means is like we have different natures, and we keep switching our natures. Like one time we behave in a different way, one time we behave according to the situation. Sometimes we are a lovely person, sometimes we are an angry person, and like our nature keeps changing. And if you say, okay, if you have to define yourself with one nature, you can't put yourself in one nature, that yeah, I'm a lovely person. No, you're not lovely person all the time. Sometimes you're a lovely person, sometimes you're not. But Shiva is not like that. He's always, his nature is very constant, and he's always in depth, like in the core of that nature, and he doesn't change it. But we'll see what his nature, or what is his consciousness later on. So the second one is basically is Sarva Vagya. So basically he knows everything. We don't know everything. Like we are present here at this point of time, and this place. So we know and we are aware of what is happening here in this hall, but we don't know, okay, what is happening in the very next door, or we don't know what is happening somewhere else, maybe in India, or I don't know, US. But Lord Shiva is someone who knows of what is happening everywhere and all times. So basically, if he is sitting here, basically he still knows what is exactly happening 10 miles away, and then what is going to happen in the future, what is going to happen in the past, have already happened in past. Like he knows basically everything. And the third quality is he is always Nitya. Okay, I don't remember what I just wrote, and I don't understand my own handwriting. Anyways, but the translation is basically he is always ever young. Basically, he doesn't age, like what we see maybe in pictures or something. Yeah, Nitya Yavana. This is what I wrote. I don't know. I wrote Nitya, but I don't understand what I wrote the next one. But anyways, maybe yeah, Nitya Yavana. So basically, he's like Yavar young, or like he doesn't age. Like he is where he is, and like yeah, you come back after maybe a million years, he's still like the same. Like he doesn't age. And the fourth quality is basically his anga, like his body is made of Sachit Ananda, like in full. And that is what even Brahma Samhita also says for Krishna in the very early verses in the Brahma Samhita, that Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindam Sarva Karana Karanam. So basically, yeah, his whole body is made of Satchit and Ananda, that is eternity, bliss, and knowledge. And the fifth one is basically his Sarva Siddhi. That is, he possesses all the yogic siddhis. Like there are a lot of yogic siddhis, like Lagima, Mahima, Siddhima, and all these lot of yogic siddhis. And he is like the master of yoga. Like he possesses all these yogic siddhis. Like I don't know if you know, like technically with practice of yoga, and if you practice these siddhis, Like you can get like supernatural powers as well. Like I think Lagima is basically like you can become very small, like you can shrink into like an ant as well as you can just become bigger. I mean, yes, it's like part of, you see the Marvel series, like the Ant-Man and stuff, he shrinks. Just like that, basically with yogic siddhis, you can do it like that. Or you can become big, or you can become heavy, or you can just become lighter than water, that you can just walk on water. And that's how some of the people, like all these Babas or the previous stories that we hear, like they had this yogic siddhis. Sometimes we hear, oh, this some Baba can walk on water and stuff, because yeah, they have mastered that yogic siddhi where they can become lighter than water, so they can just float, or they don't sink into the water. So Lord Shiva is someone who has these all these yogic siddhis in full capacity. So like he has basically the master of these yogic siddhis, and these are like the specific 5 qualities that he possesses additionally than the 50 qualities. Of course, there are a lot of qualities. The 50 qualities prominent from the jivas. Now the quite interesting part. Now, yeah, Shiva is there, and then even we see in the translation of what we just read that Lord Brahma is glorifying uh, Krishna as saying that, just like milk takes form of a yogurt, and just like that, you take the manifestation of Shambhu happens, and that is for a specific performance for the work of destruction. So that's when we can just now dive into some of the what are the duties or what are the things basically Shiva does, Lord Shiva does. And yeah, the first thing is of course given away that he's the Lord of destruction. So what else you can think of that Lord Shiva does? Yeah, but that's not. I mean, he does. It is activity, but what does he do? Like for example, Vishnu preserves and all these things. Like there are certain duties that they do. It's like that. What does Shiva does? Yeah, destructor we already covered. So what else is there? My God, Ade is now on full force.
He takes care of mode of ignorance.
Yeah, basically, yeah, he is the presiding lord of mode of tamogana, that is ignorance. And basically, why he takes this role is again related to his responsibility of destroyer. Basically, that he plays the part of destructor by doing the tandav, and when he places damaru, then the destruction starts happening, of the whole annihilation starts happening. But why is it required? Have you ever questioned? But why?
Everything
So much effort. If it's there, why do you have to destroy and rebuild it again?
everything has its own time. You make a building today, in the 50 years it will not be the
Yeah,
same.
yeah, but that is building is built by us, and here we are talking about the trilogy: Brahma, Vishnu,
Same
Shiva.
thing. Everything has its own time.
No.
To show the conditioned souls that nothing is permanent here in the material world. So it's not our place we should be.
Yeah, exactly. That's the answer I was looking for. So that's why this Mahapralaya and all these things, the repeated cycle of creation and the preservance and destruction keeps happening, because it is to remind us or the jivas that this is not our permanent home. Basically, if this material creation was supposed to be eternal and there's no destruction at all, then there's no difference between Vaikuntha and here, because Vaikuntha is eternal, and even if Buloka is eternal, then there's no difference between Vaikuntha and Buloka. And as Krishna says in Gita, that this is basically it's Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. Basically, there's a lot of dukkha here. It's dukh alayam. Alayam is basically a house, like how we have vidyalaya or gruhalaya and all these things. It's a place, and he calls this as dukkhalaya, that is place of misery. And this destruction or annihilation is basically part of that misery, basically. And that is basically to remind us that yeah, this is not where we are supposed to stay here eternally, but we come here, we take birth as humans, we have our dharma, we fulfill it, and then we just realize our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord and just go back to Vaikuntha, where Vaikuntha is basically there is no kunta, there is no misery. So it's a place of no misery basically. And for this destruction, it can't be done in the mode of passion, or it can't be done in the mode of goodness, and that's why he takes this responsibility of ruling over the mode of ignorance or the tamogana, where it is required for that kind of destruction, the activity that he does. And also a bit related to that, what else you can think of that he does or he's in charge of? Creation, yes, we will come to that. That was my next point, but there was something a bit related to the mode of ignorance that I wanted to touch upon that and then go on to that. But I'll come to that.
So he takes care of the lowest of the living entities. That's why he always surrounded by these ghostly creatures.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
he's very merciful.
Did you have access to my notes or something by chance? Like you have all the points, but yeah, exactly. That's why one of his name is called Bolanath, or Bhuthnath also they call. So it's basically all these the spirits, like all the Bhuta, Preta, whatever, or the demons. They are all primarily in the mode of ignorance, and there are still, although they have a different physical form, or a different what do I say, like a subtle form, not like us, but still they are jivas. They are part of the Supreme Lord basically, and they can't be neglected. And Krishna, or the Supreme Lord, is not partial to anyone, so he always tries to account for everyone, and that is the whole diversity that is there. And especially for the demons or all these fallen souls, like they primarily worship Lord Shiva because they are in mode of ignorance, and that's why even you see the appearance of Lord Shiva is trying to attract these kind of people or these kind of jivas. Like he wears like a tiger skin, he has ashes all over his body, he wears a garland of skulls, but we never see like Krishna wearing a garland of skulls, or anyone like Lord Ganesha wearing garland of skulls, or all these things, because they're all in a different, each devata is in a different mode basically. Like for example, Brahma is the presiding deity, presiding devata of Lord of Passion, and Vishnu is for Lord of Goodness. So as such, Lord Shiva is for ignorance, or tamoguna basically. So that's why he tries to attract all these things. So that's why uh, you know uh, that's why he's also called Ashutosh, that is, or basically he's Kripalu, that is, he is very very merciful. Like we see like some people in all these or I don't know who is attracted by ghostly features here, I don't know. No one wants to be in that association, like everyone wants to be stay away from maybe scary looking people, or basically ghosts, or all these spirits and stuff. No one wants to be in the presence of ghosts and things. So who is going to uplift them? So it's the mercy potency of Lord Shiva, that he takes all these other people who are being ignored under his wing and tries to uplift them basically. And also a bit of higher step is people who are predominantly in the mode of ignorance, they naturally feel attracted towards worshipping Lord Shiva, and that is also in a way that it is inclusive in Sanatan Dharma. Like the Supreme Lord here, Vishnu, is not like a jealous god, or is not like an Abrahamic god. Like you see some of the Abrahamic religions, they say you have to follow our god and there is no other god. Like they say, yeah, you did, it's like my way or the highway. Like it's like there is only one god and there is no other god at all. But you see the beauty of Sanatan Dharma, it's nowhere it's mentioned that there is only there's only one God and there is no other God, and you can't worship anyone else apart from one person. And that's what even Krishna tells in basically Bhagavad Gita 7.21. I'll just read out the verse. Yo yo yam yam tanu bhakta shraddhayarchitam ichchati tasya tasyachalam shraddham tam eva vidhadyam aham. And going to the next one, and then I'll come back to the translation. 7.22 Sataya shraddhaya yuktas tasyardhanam ihate labate cha tatha kaman mayava vihitan hitan. So if I go back to the translations, where Krishna is telling, I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some devata, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular devata. And the 7.22 translation is, endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular devata and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So we see here as like Krishna is trying to attract these other jivas who are in the lesser mode of like in the mode of ignorance predominantly. He's trying to attract them as well through Lord Shiva basically, and that's the huge responsibility that Shiva takes upon himself with part of the other things that he's doing. So that is his part of being the presiding person of the mode of ignorance or tamaguna. And the next one is which Mataji just picked up, that he also does creation basically. How does anyone know? Like he takes the responsibility of creation as well. I know this class can be a bit confusing, but at least maybe I hope when you walk out you will have some clarity as to what all things Lord Shiva does. Any idea how he is part of creation? Yeah, I mean it's quite philosophical. You can't just quite guess it. Like if you know, you know. Otherwise, you don't know, kind of a thing. So okay, so let me just explain how he becomes part of creation. So there are 64 lakh species, or 640 million if you consider the million numbers, species of living entities in this material world. That's what the Shastras say. And each of these living entities, 64 lakh species, each of them are basically composed of material bodies. Like, of course, they're all Jivatmas, but the Jivatma is covered by different layers of body. One is the subtle body made of mind, intelligence, and ego. And then there is this outer body that we see, basically, which is made of Panchamahabhutas. And also there is this covering of basically Maya. And Maya is none other than basically Mother Durga. And basically because of her, all these this body, this material world comes into being. And to be very specific, it's a bit more philosophical as per what even Srimad Bhagavatam describes in terms of creation, that Krishna basically first expands into Balram, and Balram expands into four primeval expansions, and one of them is Mahasankarshan. And from Mahasankarshan comes Mahavishnu. And I don't know if you have seen the picture of Mahavishnu. Basically, he is just floating in the causal ocean, and then basically he's just breathing out universes and breathing in universes. Basically, a lot of Brahmandas come into being when he just breathes out. But how does these living entities get impregnated into these brahmandas, each of these brahmandas, and that comes basically from his glands. And from there, there's this effulgence that comes from in between his eyebrows of Mahavishnu, and this reflection is basically called Shambhulinga, and that is the basically of the manifestation of Shiva. And then there is Rama Devi, which is basically Lakshmi Devi, and her reflection is basically called Yoni. And when this Shambhulinga and Yoni come together, like unite, then the whole manifestation of this creation, this material world, and all the jivas get impregnated into each of these brahmandas. And that's how he takes part in the creation, basically. So basically, you see that this Ma Durga as this material nature, as Maya, is giving this material body, right? And that's how usually even babies are born in this world. Like if you see what is the contribution of a father in, yeah, basically having a baby. You can shout out, it's okay. What is the contribution of a father? He just gives basically a seed, and then the mother takes the seed, and then the egg fuses with the seed, and then the material body of the baby, like the hands, limbs, and all these things, gets formed in the womb of the mother. So basically the mother gives the body. If you just extrapolate the same thing, and in terms of the cosmic creation, I know it's a bit difficult and very philosophical, but just bear with me. But that's how we get all these bodies in this material creation, that Ma Durga as the mother gives all these material bodies that we see, and that's how the Maya works. But the seed giving father is basically Ma Durga's, is basically none other than Parvati. And who's the husband of Parvati? Shiva. So basically Shiva is father. But when you see the verse from Gita, सर्वयोनिषु कौन्तेय मूर्तय शम्भवन्ति यः तस् तशां ब्रह्म महद् योनिर aham bija pradapita. So Krishna tells aham bija pradapita. Krishna tells I am the seed giving father. So now who is the father, Shiva or Krishna? What do you think?
Both, but in different forms.
I think how you describe it.
Yeah, exactly. Like how we just described, the very Mula Pita is basically Krishna, where from Krishna comes Balram, and from Balram comes Mahasankarshan, from him Mahavishnu, and from Mahavishnu comes Shambhulinga, and then from there Yoni, and then Unite, and all these things. So basically, Shiva is also Pita, like he's also the father of each and every living being, but also, yeah, Shiva, also Krishna is basically the Mula Pita. So in this way he takes part in creation as well of this material world and all these jivas, because Krishna as such does not directly come in contact with Maya or this material world, because of the Vishnu Tattva, what I was talking about. And that's where what I said, the Shiva Tattva is completely different and is in the center in between, like making like the bridge basically. And that is one of the duties of Shiva in terms of creation. So the next one, like I don't know, you can say a part of the sampradaya philosophy, but okay, let's not dive too deep into it. But also, I'll just maybe touch upon. But if you are curious, then maybe we can take a bit more depth into it. But also, he has this duty in this material world to propagate basically the Mayavad philosophy, and he does that through coming through Shripad Shankaracharya. And why he does that, it's a different topic. But yeah, I think we are running out of time, maybe. uh, I don't know, are you interested to listen to it, or maybe I can skip? Depends on what do you think. Yeah. Okay. So it basically it is basically, yeah. Okay. Let me start with this. So there was this conversation of Lord Shiva and Parvati, and Parvati asks Shiva as to, out of all worships, all types of worships, what should I do? Like there are a lot of types of worships in Sanatana Dharma, or like basically in the Vedanta philosophy. And then Shiva replies that Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param. So he says, of all types of worship, Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param. So he tells Vishnu Aradhana, that is, worship of Vishnu is the supreme. And of course, the conversation goes a bit more depth, but I'm just skipping through it. But then later she comes to a point that Parvati asks, so if you say, if Vishnu Aradhana is the supreme, then what was the purpose of you going as Adi Shankaracharya and then propagate something completely different? And for that, for that, Lord Shiva replies that, of course, I did this, but on as a service to basically Vishnu, and as well as part of this bigger plan. Now, if you, I don't know if how many of you were uh, present when I did my last session here. That was way long back, but then we quite touched upon what is the whole essence of bhakti. In terms of, we went into the center core of Bhagavad Gita, that is the middle part of the Bhagavad Gita, and then we discussed what is the essence of bhakti, and it was from the 9th chapter basically. So why he does this philosophy of a different sampradaya is basically that that he wants to have this filtering process. Why? Because Krishna tells in Gita, in the very start of the 9th chapter, let me find that verse maybe. Okay, 14. Okay, just give me a moment. So basically, Krishna tells in the very beginning of the 9th chapter, and do you know, anyone know what is the title of 9th chapter?
The most confidential.
Yeah, exactly, the most confidential knowledge, and that is the whole essence or core of Bhagavad Gita. And before starting this most confidential knowledge, so what do you do basically before giving someone something most confidential, secret? What do you do basically?
NDA.
Sorry?
NDA.
NDA, yeah.
Need to see that.
He feels capable or not.
Exactly. So that was the answer I was looking for. And that's what even Krishna tells in the very first verse of 9th chapter. He says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha idam tu te guhyam tam pravakshyami anusyave gnanam vignana sahitam yagnatva mokshase shubhat. So the translation is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you the most confidential knowledge and realization, with knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. So Krishna is just about to give the most confidential knowledge, and basically he is checking the other person's, in this case Arjuna, what is his eligibility, what is his capability basically, like why does he become eligible to know this confidential knowledge. And that is because it's there in this verse, because you are never envious of me in the sense envious of Krishna. And that is the basic qualification to get to know, to access this the core of Bhagavad Gita, or the core of Srimad Bhagavatam, that you should not be envious of Krishna. And the major emotion, or the major people, the majority of people are basically envious of Krishna. And how it's a very subtle form basically. I mean, I just thought through this, but maybe there can be different reasons. But if you ask any person, in Sanatan Dharma or someone, like if you go to India, like what is the whole goal of this religious activities they do or spirituality? What do they say? Yeah, exactly, moksha. And they have this understanding. Of course, it is a part of type of moksha, but majority of people they want is basically moksha. That means what they have the idea is, yeah, I am Brahmasmi, like I am Brahman, and basically there is a bigger Brahman, and then I just merge into it, and that's how I get moksha. Yeah, fine, but why do you want moksha? If you ask them, what would be the answer?
You don't have to be part of this Janam Marans of
Yeah. Yes.
Janmatmika Bandhan se Mukti.
Yes. Yeah. Any other answers? Why do you want that moksha?
To avoid suffering.
Yeah, to avoid suffering. Anything else?
Become God.
Become God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, basically, yeah, you become one with Brahman. That means, yeah, then there is no difference between you and Brahman, God. And Brahman is also God. Like, there are three forms of God, that is Paramatma, Brahman, and the God, Lord Himself as a personality. So, yeah, to become God. Yeah. Any other answers?
To be happy forever.
To be happy forever. Yeah. Yeah. In other words, yeah, to escape from miseries and also to be happy forever. Yeah. Any other things that you can think of?
My definition of moksha is different.
Yeah. Okay, I think that we are out of the reasonings. But what do you observe common in all these reasonings? What do you think of that is common
In the
in
center. You yourself put in the center.
exactly in all these different reasons that we just gave? If you think one step back, it's you in the center. That I want to escape this. I want to be happy. I want to be God. It's never about the Lord. It's just about me either escape from the suffering or become happy forever or all these things or become God. Basically, why do you want to become God? Because you want to be that center of enjoyment. Only Lord is the Parama Purusha, that is, He is the supreme enjoyer, He is the supreme benefactor, basically. So basically you want to be God. That means that you are still envious of God. Why are you envious of someone? Is because you don't have it and someone else have it and you're envious of that person. Maybe, yeah, I'm envious or jealous of someone because, yeah, he has a bigger house than me, or something that I don't have he has. And when you are not the center of the enjoyment, or you are not getting that everlasting happiness, then in a subtle form you are still envious of the Lord. And that's why the jiva basically, or we basically strive for moksha. That is, yeah, we can become one with the God, and then, yeah, you escape from sufferings, you eternally be happy, or yeah, you become one with the Lord, basically. Then, yeah, then you have all the qualities of the Lord, basically, all these things. So you are still envious of the Lord. So basically what happens, coming back to our verse from Gita, yeah, so basically some people are envious, and they should not get access to this most confidential knowledge that Krishna is going to give Arjuna. And this filtering process is done by Lord Shiva, coming as Sripad Adi Shankaracharya. That he takes this whole philosophy that, yes, you are Brahman and you can merge with Brahman. It is true, it is a part of moksha, like it is part of moksha, it is true, but it is partial truth. I wouldn't say full truth. And it's not also a lie, but it's a different thing. That is mainly because to basically filter out the people and give the people who are not envious this supreme truth, this most confidential knowledge. And that confidential knowledge, if you read the whole ninth chapter of Gita, you will understand that Bhakti, the essence, is basically the confidential knowledge. But how does this filtering work? Like, if I have to give a very basic example, like if you keep a Bhagavatam Katha and also announce that there is going to be a 9-course Sunday feast, prasadam, and then you see there are 200 people sitting in the hall. Now, how do you differentiate in this 200 people? Have they come for actually the Bhagavatam Katha or have they come for prasadam feast? How do you do it? Sorry? No. Kind of, yeah, but there is a short way to just filter out people. How do you do it?
Shiva comes at the end of the program.
Kind of. No, but it's not about see who comes at the end. Yeah, basically, I have 200 people now sitting in front of me. Now, how do I differentiate between, okay, this person is here only for the Bhagavatam Katha or this person is here for just having a nice meal or prasadam? Small clue for the core team who is organizing the Ram Navami. The clue is there.
There are many ways. First, you look at
The-
their expression and you see if they are distracted. Then you can simply say in the mic that, listen, there is no Mahaprasad, and everybody will start getting up and leaving.
Yeah, kind of. You can do all sorts of things, but you have to go a bit. Yeah, you can do that as well. But also, a short way to do it is basically keep the Bhagavatam Katha at lunchtime, and you have the Bhagavatam Katha and the Prasadam getting served at the same time. Then you see people who have come just for prasadam, they just go stand in the prasadam line. Then the 200 people just becomes 20 people sitting in the Bhagavatam Katha, and everyone else is there in the prasadam counter waiting for eating basically. And then that's how you just filter out people who are really interested in Bhagavatam Katha and who have come there to actually take the nectar of Bhagavatam Katha. Same philosophy, the same concept here Shiva is doing, that he is just taking out those people who are actually envious in terms of attracting them with the Mayavad philosophy. And this is what he explains to Mother Parvati, that this is the service that I'm doing so that all these jivas who have ulterior motives, they shouldn't get access to these this confidential knowledge, and then they start misusing those things. And that's the same thing happened in the whole Kali Yuga basically. And because we see, yeah, there is Adi Shankaracharya, and then there is Madhvacharya, then there is Lord Buddha who comes, then there is Ramanujacharya, and each of them have their own philosophy, not too different, but still going towards the Supreme Lord, Bhakti, and everything. But still, if you see the Sampradayas, they are all different. The ideology, philosophy is different. And yeah, that's how you connect the dots. Basically, the people in the start of Kali Yuga, the Brahminical people, they were misusing this knowledge, this Vedic philosophy in a very different way for their ulterior motives, and they were not intending the right purpose of this Vedic philosophy, and they were misusing it, having it for their own justification, and the whole thing was lost basically. And that's when Lord Buddha came and he said, take out all the scriptures, nothing is valid. And then one step later, then Adi Shankaracharya comes and says, there is no, there is nirvana as such, what propagated by Buddha, but he tells Adi Shankaracharya says, no, there is Brahman and there is you are part of Brahman and you can become one. And then comes basically Madhvacharya, who says that yes, there is a supreme person and there is Jiva, but there is still a distinction between them, that you still have your own individuality and you don't have to merge with Brahman. And then comes Sripad Ramanujacharya, and he says, yes, there is Jiva and there is Ishvara, the Paramishvara, and then there is a relation between them. And then comes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, goes much deeper in terms of how you can serve, how you can be part of the service and the pastimes of the Lord by practicing bhakti. So it just goes in a more systematic way. But yeah, it's a topic for another day. I just touched upon it. But this is how Shiva basically tries to delude all these souls who are still envious and tries to filter them out basically. Because ultimately, if you see, as Adi Shankaracharya, what does he say? The very famous bhajan from, yes, bhaja govindam, bhaja govindam, govindam bhaja mudamathe. So Adi Shankaracharya is telling, bhaja govindam, bhaja govindam, govindam bhaja, like he's telling, chant the name of Govindam, oh mudamathe, like, oh fool, just chant this the name of the Lord Govindam. So he does give some like a teaser of what is the actual thing, but in majority what he does is basically he propagates this philosophy which is completely different, and that's how he explains to Mother Parvati that he's doing it as a service. So that is his duty in this material world as such, like, or in this brahmanda that he does. So the last topic, and I will end with this. Who is the Ishta Dev of Lord Shiva? Anyone knows?
Sri Ram.
Yeah. How? So basically, yeah, Lord Sri Ram is the Ishta Devta of Shiva, and like you see, always Shiva is in this meditation. Like, why is he in this meditation? There is a small backstory for it as well. Like in one of these Ekadashis, also these glories comes where earlier all these demons who we always hear the stories of devtas and demons always fighting against each other, so all these demons were also worshipping Vishnu, and they were basically Vaishnavas, and the devtas are naturally Vaishnavas, and they went and complained to Vishnu saying that these demons are also Vaishnavas, they are having Vaishnava attire, and they practice your stuti and all these things. So like we are not able to defeat them, like we can't get this victory over us. And then that's when also Shiva asks, sorry, Vishnu asks Lord Shiva to, when he takes up this responsibility of being the presiding deity of the mode of ignorance, or the tamaguna, that's when all the demons and all these people, they start worshipping Lord Shiva, and that's when there was a bit of differentiation where the devatas could fight more on this. But before, when he was asked, when Lord Shiva was asked to take up this huge responsibility, but Shiva was like, Lord Shiva was like, I don't want to do this. Like, who wants to wear skulls and be in the crematorium, or try to be, because it's kind of a bad environment, not a favorable environment, let's say like that. So that's when like Shiva decides that, okay, whatever happens, I need to just meditate on the names of Lord Hari, that is Rama. That's how he always keeps chanting the name of Lord Rama in his meditation always. And that's how he becomes like transcendental to this mode. Although he is the presiding person of the mode of ignorance, does not mean that Shiva is in the mode of ignorance. He is transcendental to that. It's only the people or the jivas who are in the mode of ignorance are attracted to it, but Shiva is in a completely different platform altogether. And how he keeps that balance, like how he also holds that poison in his throat, as well as that carries the whole weight of mode of ignorance, is basically him constantly meditating on his Ishtadev, that is the name of Lord Ram. And how does this is proven? Anyone knows? I mean, if you're from, yeah, I mean, not technically South Indian, but technically if you're in, there is a very specific verse that he gives that just gives away that it is Lord Ram, that is his Istadev.
Shri Rama Rama Rama.
Yeah, it's from Vishnu Sahasranama. I don't know if you have heard. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varanane. So basically, if you have heard this from Vishnu Sahasranama, if I don't know how many of you know that this verse was actually spoken by Lord Shiva. And what does this translates to? In chanting his name again and again, Shri Rama, 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 I discover joy in Lord Rama, who pleases my heart and whose face is a blessing. His name is equal to 1000 names of Lord Vishnu. So this here, the I or my, basically the first person is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is telling to Mother Parvati that I always chant this name Shri Rama, Rama, Rama because it pleases my heart. So that's how we can know that Lord Shiva's Istadev is basically Lord Ram, and this basically because this is his nature. When I don't know when I said earlier in the class that his nature is fixed and he doesn't change, and this is his nature that he's always in this Vaishnav mode. What is a Vaishnava? Basically, always thinking about the Lord, always meditating on the Lord. So that is a pure Vaishnava, and this is what he is doing, always chanting the names of Lord Rama again and again. And this is also proved in Shrimad Bhagavatam, where Vyasadeva concludes in the very end of the 12th canto and the end part of the thing, where because Vyasadeva wrote all the Puranas, wrote all the Vedanta Sutras and everything. And this is from 12.13.16. निम्नगानं यथा गंगा देवानाम् अच्युतो यथा वैष्णवानां यथा शंभु paramanam puranam idam tata. So this translates to basically, just as Ganga is the greatest of all rivers, Lord Achyuta is the supreme among deities, and Lord Shambhu, Shiva, is the greatest of Vaishnavas. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas, basically. And this is the conclusive scripture of Vyasadeva, Srimad Bhagavatam, where he is declaring or giving off that, Shambhu is the greatest of Vaishnavas, like of all the Vaishnavas that are there, like he's the topmost. So yeah, this Mahashivratri, that what we can do is pray to this Lord Shiva, that he has two kripa, basically the Sakatapa kripa and there is Akatapa kripa. Sakatapa kripa is basically his Ashutosh, basically he is very pleased. Like if you approach him with some prayer, some material desires, he will fulfill those things. But the Apataka kripa is basically when you approach him without any desire in heart, like just out of just devotion. If you approach him, then he basically blesses with the most the dearest thing to him, that is he blesses that person with bhakti. So that could be our mind, our consciousness, when we are trying to pray to Lord Shiva this Shivaratri, that just be natural and don't just desire for any material thing, because getting bhakti from him, because he is the best Vaishnava, is the best gift you can get, basically. So yeah, if you pray to him today with deep most of your heart, then definitely he will bestow that bhakti in you, that then you can ask him that your nature as bhakti can also be as rigid as himself, and take that inspiration. So yeah, by this I just want to end my session today, to just glorify Lord Shiva and what was his position and what are his duties in this material world, and what type of things he does. And as such, just leading on to it, because it is Mahashivratri and also Lord Ram is very, very dear to Lord Shiva, and we were almost, I think, 4 weeks to just celebrate our Ram Navami in Eindhoven.